The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our Thursday night call. If you're here in the North America or whatever time or day it is, wherever you're calling in the world. I know we've got people calling in from all over the place. I want to welcome you. My name is Stephen Brown. I want to welcome you to our Monotm Leader Mindset with Mr. Jim Bellacera, and I'm going to introduce Jim in just a moment here. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And a couple quick announcements here before we get going. We do have a pared down schedule this week. Boy, new concepts and contests and all sorts of things are flying at us at an incredible rate here. And we've gone back and retooled our presentations and all sorts of different things. So those are underway and with our production team right now. So look for the live PowerPoint presentations to come back up hopefully early next week, but we'll give you an announcement as soon as they are ready to go here. I hope that you are keeping up with all the changes that are coming up with Monotm. The Ignite the Fire contest was just unveiled. If you don't know the details of that, if you haven't seen the email or were on Mr. Ken Eggleston's Sunday night call this past Sunday, you can access a recording of the call from your back office, from the dashboard, and also the details of the Ignite the Fire contest are also available in the main marquee section of your dashboard. Just click there and you'll find a pretty snazzy online brochure that you can access and see the details there. I think Jim's going to touch on that a little bit tonight. Just some amazing things that we've got coming up here. I do want to point out also that although we are in a pared down schedule here, we will have a success system training on Saturday at 1 p.m. East Coast time in the United States. And Aaron Parker, our Director of Training, will be going over some different concepts in the success system. And as always, we'll be taking your questions as well. So without further ado, I want to turn this over to Jim Bellacera and his special guest tonight. And for those of you who don't know Jim, we are just so honored to have him with us as not only a co-founder of Monotm and an advisory board member, but he just does so much for us. He comes to us with boy, about 30 years worth of history in this industry and some just amazing things. He's responsible and going to be responsible for some very important things within the Monotm success system and the whole Monotm platform in general, having to do with social media and personal branding and all sorts of things. So, Jim, can you hear me? Are you out there?
I can hear you just fine. I am out here. I'm ready to go, man. Thank you so much,
Great.
Stephen.
Well, a Happy New Year to you, and I want you to take it away and have a great night.
Thank you, Stephen. You know, just for those of you that are listening right now, Stephen does a lot of things that nobody really understands and appreciates as much as those of us that are all part of the team. And I just want to thank you, Stephen, publicly, because there's no question there's a lot of details that always have to be taken care of. And thank goodness for you, my friend. Well, tonight's call, I've got a very dear friend of mine. In fact, I'll never forget the first time I met Khalil. It was actually it was before we actually talked about the company he owns, or part owner in, and called wowgreen. But first I want to introduce Khalil to everybody. Ali, are you on the line right now?
Hey, Jim. Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I want to give everybody a little background about Ali. Ali's a young man. You can see, and I was telling him just before the call, I said, darn, we're going to have the picture of you on there, and all the girls are going to be going wild over him. But look, he is a handsome young man. He's not only a young man, but he's sharp. He's a business owner. He's owned several businesses. He continues to own several businesses right now. He's a co-founder with wowgreen. He's a leader in the MLM industry. He's a servant. And this is really one of the reasons I asked him if he'd be on this call, is not really just because he's the founder of wowgreen, but because of his experience in field leadership, in working not just at a corporate level with employees, but also working in the field with entrepreneurs. Because, you know, in every business, you need somebody who's a cheerleader, somebody who can encourage, and somebody who can really build and edify other people. And either Ali was born with it naturally, or he developed the skills along the way. But either way, he is a master at this. And I think that when I introduce him as, you know, certainly a man that I trust and admire and respect, I really mean that, and that's why I really wanted him on this call. And Ollie, you know, what I'd like to start off with right now is we don't need to go back in, you know, in your entire history and all the different businesses you've owned, but you know, you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time. Would you just address what drives you or what drove you at first to become an entrepreneur, and then we're going to lead into why wowgreen, but we're not going to stay on wowgreen. That's not the reason for this call tonight. So go ahead, Ollie. Please take it away.
Thanks, Jim. You know, thank you so much for having me on this call. You know, it's truly a blessing to have met you. And Stephen, thank you for moderating and taking care of everything that you do. It's truly an honor to be on this and share some things with everybody. You know, Jim, that's a great question. And it's really weird. You know, one of the things that I've learned in life is that if you truly want to make a difference in anything that you do, you have to do things a little different. And you really have to be part of something different. And at a young age, you know, when I was 12 years old, I remember we grew up, we were poverty-stricken neighborhood. I mean, the dream job for the people in my neighborhood, my old friends, was to be able to get a job in one of the big three. I'm from Michigan, so to be able to get a job in the factory working in maybe Ford, GM, or Chrysler was like the dream job that everybody would talk about at a young age because that's what their parents did. And, you know, my dad worked for Ford for 10 years, and you know, I've been a dreamer my whole life, and I've always wanted to succeed, and I always wanted to do bigger things. And, you know, I always told myself, I just have to be around that type of people. So I really didn't know how I was going to do that. Well, I got a job when I was about 13 years old in the gas station industry, and, you know, I loved it. I was sweeping floors and mopping and filling coolers and pumping gas for a quarter for people, but all the time learning and being around vendors and different salespeople and listening and other successful people. And I always told myself, you know, if I could just be around different successful people and millionaires, maybe I could one day just get the crumbs of a millionaire and maybe have their success trickle down to me both financially, spiritually, and just from business experience. And I always said, I just got to be around those type of people. And I remember thinking when I was working and going to school, I said, wow, if I could just own one gas station, I'd be the luckiest guy in the world. I'd be my own boss. I'd be the guy that pays the employees, that makes the decisions, and just, it'd be amazing. Never in my wildest dreams did I think by the age of 25 years old, I'd have 11 locations for ExxonMobil, be a multi-millionaire in that industry. And, you know, it all started with my first location at 17 that I got only through relationships, through help and support of my family, friends, other people that I have met that offered me lines of credit and trusted me. And, you know, it's been a total blessing my entire life to be around the right people. And, you know, Jim, I appreciate everything you say about me, but I'm truly, you know, I'm nothing special. You know, I'm not that smart. I don't really have anything extraordinary about me. In everything I've done and everything I've become, I've been a product of everyone else around me. And that's been the most important thing in my life, is surrounding yourself with the right people. You know, I've learned that you really are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. If I would have stayed hanging out with those people that had the dream job of one day working in the factory, who now some of those same people are being laid off, you know, I probably would have ended up being there. But instead I decided that I wanted to dream bigger and be around different people. And, you know, today it's where I find myself at the age of 32 years old, being around unbelievable business geniuses and masterminds like Ali Malad, who is the founder and CEO of wowgreen, and Jordan Zimmerman, who's a multi-billionaire, who's the founder of Zimmerman Advertising, and so many other people that are just unbelievably successful that I've allowed myself to be around and just learn as much as I can. And talking about getting the crumbs of millionaires, you know, now I find myself still wanting to learn and getting the crumbs of people who have made hundreds of millions and even billions, and hoping some of that really trickles down to me. And the best part about that, Jim, is the more success you have, the more you can go out there and really bless other people. And it's just that effect where you help more people. The more success you have, the more success you can help other people have. And it's just a great blessing, and I'm so honored and I feel so blessed to be part of everything that we're doing.
You know, here's something that I find really interesting in the world in general. You know, usually you find people, young or old, it really doesn't matter, that have achieved some sort of level of success in their life, and oftentimes it goes to their head. And I want to share the story and how I first met you, which really was not the connection to wowgreen, which is kind of interesting, and I think you'll agree with me on this. You know, because I own a company called Successful Thinkers, and I went over to Michigan to support an event that was taking place over there, and you wanted to meet me. You drove over to the event as well, and I saw, you know, I saw you. I mean, I met a very young, handsome young man who was obviously, you knew what he was doing, had his act together. You could tell by the way you postured yourself and everything. But there was a side of you that was rather impressive, and it's the side that I'm personally drawn to, and that's your servant side. And the point I'm trying to make here is that, you know, I see a lot of people achieve success, both whether it's in this industry here in network marketing or it's in your typical business, and there's a certain arrogance, or there's certain, well, you know, life owes me now, or something like that. You know, I achieved my dream, I'm where I need to be, and now everybody needs to, you know, bow before me. And you are definitely 100%, 180 degrees opposite of that. What causes you to stay in that servant mode?
You know, Jim, that's a great question, man. It always seems, I know it sounds strange, and for me, I didn't totally get it at first, but, you know, people always, life is funny. People always think that in order to serve their own best self-interest, that, you know, they have to have this attitude of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine, and I got to try to get everything I could possibly get. And, you know, I've just noticed, and I was really fortunate to be able to pick up on this, that it's in my own best self-interest to help other people achieve their dreams and to win, because it creates a bond that is unbreakable. People, when they really know you care, they'll do anything for you. I mean, my good friend Grayson Marshall, he always says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you know, that's just so true. And really, it's just seeing it happen in my own life, where the more I give, it seems like the more I receive. And you know, when you truly help somebody, Jim, and you really help them win and just feel better about themselves or gain anything, I mean, listen, that's heavyweight stuff. You can't buy that feeling with money. It's just, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And, you know, that's why I love this industry, Jim. I mean, at the age of 22 years old, I got into this industry. I didn't know what I was doing. I was really ignorance on fire. I had no idea what was going on in network marketing. All I know is my good friend calls me from California and says, "Ali, oh my God, this new business, it's the greatest thing. You have to get in this company. It's got these products. One helps you sleep better, and one helps you lose weight." And I told him, I said, "I don't need either of those, man. I really don't know what you want, what you're telling me this for." He's like, "Yeah, but forget about that. You get in and you get other people in." And by the way, it was $700 to get into this company. I didn't know any better. So I got into this company for $700, and I bought sleeping pills and weight loss pills. I still have some in my garage probably. I never used the darn stuff. But the point is, in my first week, I went out there and I brought in 23 people for this $700 pack. And, you know, the CEO calls me and he says, "Oh my God, you know, you've broken every record. How did you do this in your first week? You brought in 23 people on our highest pack." I said, "Well, you know, I didn't know you had any other packs. To be honest with you, I just was doing what I was told to do." And, you know, to make a long story short, that's really when I started to learn that being a servant is the best thing that you could be. It's from this industry, because it's all about helping people, helping people, helping people, help them help people. And you learn so much through it. Now, the reason Monetium resonated so much with me when you first told me about it is that same company, 6 months later, that I built an awesome organization and went out of business. And, you know, I didn't care about myself. I cared about all these people that I brought in, and my commitments and my promises that we were all going to win together. And it hurt so much to have so many people affected by what happened. So when you first told me about Monetium, Jim, you know, it just struck me, man. And I felt how emotionally connected you were to it, and how much you loved it. And, you know, I absolutely fell in love with the concept as well. So.
Well, I think you definitely hit on one of the things that's really important in life and in business for sure, and that's the fact that people care more about how much you care than how much you know. And in this industry, obviously it's a faith-based industry, and it's really about people. It's not about a product. And I know that you own a great company with a great product behind it, many great products actually. But the thing that has resonated, of course, with me is the fact that you actually do put people first. And that's the whole premise behind what Monoteum is all about, is that we build the family, we build the team, and then the product becomes basically a byproduct of what we do. And, I just really felt I needed to get you on this call. I wanted people to know you. I wanted them to get to feel your energy and your heart. You are definitely an amazing servant. And what's really important, too, about people, ladies and gentlemen, it's not what people say when you're there, because generally, they'll lie to you in your face. They'll say things that you want to hear when you're there. It's what they say about you when you're not there. And the thing about Ollie is that he's had me talk to people from literally as far east as you can go in the United States to all the way where I live, which is on the West Coast in California. And they all say the same thing about Ollie. And they love him. They actually love him. And so there's something important to learn from this message, and that is that, really be interested in other people. And the first time that him and I well, it's not the first time, but it was the second time we were together, and he was driving me to the airport. I just kept thinking about all of the different events that took place from the very first time I went to Michigan to the second time I went to Michigan. The second time I went there was really because of wowgreen. It wasn't because of Successful Thinkers. And I watched him. I'm a people watcher. I actually study people because I realized that if I'm going to do business with someone, I want to do business with someone I like. And Ollie just kept resonating, nice guy, always there for you, servant, always saying the right things, edifying people. I mean, it was nonstop. It was like you couldn't turn him off. It was almost so much so that I was questioning my ability to judge, is this guy for real? Because he's so, he just loves helping people. He loves edifying people, and yet he's a successful entrepreneur. And I finally came to a conclusion after spending, I think, how many days was I there, 2 or 3?
I think you were there 3 days, I think you were there for 3 days. Two and a half, maybe 2.5 days. I think you left on the 3rd day.
Okay. And, it takes a lot for someone to stay, on that long and not be real. And I obviously realized that Ollie's a very genuine individual. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that one of the greatest things that you can get out of this conversation that we're having with Ollie is that he's the real deal, he's legitimate, and that people that like or love Ollie is because he's genuinely there for them. He's a servant. And it's a natural byproduct of his life. He doesn't have to make it up. He doesn't have to flick a switch to say, okay, today I'll be on, but as soon as these people leave, I'm going to be the way I was. Ollie, what was it that you've had your hands in a few different businesses. Obviously, you've been in the MLM industry, in several gas stations. You've done other ventures. What was it that caused you to want to become an owner of an MLM company? Because that's a real switch in a role, because you're not just a distributor. Now you're actually an owner and a distributor. And then why wowgreen? And we won't spend a lot of time on it because that's not the reason for the call.
That's a great question, Jim, because the reason I was really drawn to wowgreen was because of Ollie Mallet, the CEO and founder. I remember before the company launched, I was at his house, and my wife and I, since we had our first 2 children, we were trying to be as green as possible anyway. We were trying to do the organic thing, and we were trying to get rid of the toxins out of our home, and it was just perfect timing, man. And when Ollie was so passionate about this vision that he had come up with, and this concept of freeing the world of toxic chemicals, and to be honest with you, I love the whole concept. I love the products. I love this whole idea of wowgreen, but I really fell in love with Ollie's passion and emotional connection to this concept, man. It was just incredible, and it fit with what my life was about anyway, with helping other people, because yes, I got to help them with network marketing and being better leaders and helping other people get whatever success they wanted in any aspect of their life, but it was something that I really cared about, and my wife really cared about it as well. My wife was on board with wowgreen even before I was, because we were trying to live that way anyway, and it just made sense. I mean, if you can have people with these products and they're the same amount of money and they work better and they're safer than anything in the world, I mean, you know, it's a no-brainer. So it really was just the perfect storm for me, and I just fell in love with it. And, you know, I have wowgreen to thank for the relationships that I've made all over the world. I mean, I have relationships in 20 different countries now, and so many people. The only problem I have now, Jim, is I really don't have enough time to invest in all the relationships and friends that I've built all over the world. It's really insane, but you know, I guess that's a good problem to have. So that's really what drew me to wowgreen.
That's a great product to have. Thanks, Ollie. I appreciate that. You know, I want to address something that you made really clear here. It was Ollie that opened your eyes, Ollie Mallet, that opened your eyes to wowgreen. If Ollie would have asked you to get involved in a pet rock business or a construction business, would you have followed him, yes or no?
Absolutely. If he would have told me, listen, we're going to take this ice and we're going to go to Alaska and we're going to sell them this new type of ice crystal or whatever the case is, listen, Ollie is absolutely incredible. I've never met someone so passionate, so committed, and he's unbelievable. I mean, yes, he's, you know, owned $100 million companies and unbelievable success, but that's not what he's about. He's about other people. I mean, what I am, I've learned so much from just being around him, and how he also edifies people and cares about people and goes out of his way to help people. I mean, you know, Jim, and that's the thing, man. I mean, look at what we have with Monotium. I mean, think about it. We have this unbelievable community of people. You know, and forget that it has all these amazing concepts and one genealogy and the system and tools. That's all unbelievable. But to think that we have a community of people that are the best of the best, that somebody can come in here for free now and be a part of and really learn from other people and be able to take their information and just be a sponge and help grow with those people. I mean, that's really what I love. And you're right. Whatever Ollie wanted to do, I would have been a part of, because he's incredible, man. I would have followed him anywhere when he was done.
And this was a very important question that I asked you, because, you know, a lot of people just, you know, they don't understand relationship and business. And relationships and business actually go together, because the truth of the matter is, there's been so many different concepts and ideas and businesses that have been formed. Somebody had to be willing to follow somebody else. Agree?
Absolutely.
And here is a guy that you obviously developed a relationship. How long have you known Ollie, if you don't mind me asking?
Gosh, I've known him for several years now.
Okay.
I've known him for several years.
But this, ladies and gentlemen, this is critically important that you understand what I'm saying here. People follow people. They don't follow products, ladies and gentlemen. They don't follow money, because if money is your loyalty, then if the money's not there, they're not going to stay. I know that, you know, I'm sure that, you know, you've seen thick and thin times in your life, and you have relationships with people like Ollie, specifically Ollie, where there's a bond there that just says, okay, I'll listen to what you have to say because I trust you, because he cares enough about you. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you're so right, Jim, when you said that. People, they don't follow products. Or you might be able to get somebody involved if you have a special product, but you're not going to keep them. People will stay. There's so many people that I have spoke with that have told me, Ollie, in several things, I don't care if I ever make $1 with what I'm doing. I just love being around you, your family, the other people that we associate with. It doesn't matter if we make any money. I just love how I feel when I'm around the group. And that's important stuff, man. That's the most important thing, in my opinion.
And as an owner of a company, a leader, obviously in your own business, and obviously you guys have thousands of people within your organization, I know for a fact you'll pick up the phone and you'll talk to the brand new distributor. And I know it's obviously the bigger your company gets, obviously the more difficult it is, but the reality, but still, the fact that you would do that, that impresses me, because you know that in the heart of every person is the ability to become the next major leader. and yet you'll pick up that phone. Talk to me about that.
You know, it's funny, Jim. You're so right. I love to try to talk to as many people as I possibly can. And really, you know, this business is really about percentages when you think about it. You gotta get a better percentage. I mean, when I first started out, you know, every time I talked to 25 people, I'd get 25 no's, and then I would get a yes. So, you know, I had a percentage there. I was getting 1 out of 25. So I told myself, okay, so if I get 20 no's, it's okay. I'm only 5 no's away from from getting a yes. And obviously, the more I did that, the better my percentages got. And the whole thing is, you never know who that next superstar is going to be. You never know who that next person that's just going to be committed, that's going to believe in everything. And I mean, you could be talking to the next Jim Bellacera, the next Ken Eggleston, the next Ollie Mallard, you know, the next Stephen Brown, the next anybody, and you don't even know it, and they don't even know it yet. But once you help them and teach them and lead them and serve them, man, the best thing you can hope for is everybody you talk to can become better than you, because that, again, is in your best self-interest.
You want to hear something interesting, Ollie? This takes me back probably about 7 years, but I was, you know, venturing out from where I was. I'd spent a long time in my first company, and there was just some things that just didn't feel right anymore. And I was really learning about the internet. I was definitely not where I am today with the internet. And I answered somebody's lead capture page. You know, I put my name, my phone number, and email address in there, and they didn't call me. So I thought that was bizarre. So I emailed them and said, you know, I'm really interested in talking to you, and they didn't call me. So I got mad. And I went back on the internet, typed in the name of the company, and the person who was at the top, I figured, well, maybe they'll call me, you know? And sure enough, they did call me, and I ended up developing a relationship with them, and it was really a real blessing, that relationship that I have. It's been going for 7 years now. But it's really kind of interesting because there's some people, they don't understand the power of what we're doing here, the power of building relationships. You know, there's a lot of really good professional people that are internet savvy, that they can, you know, they work with lead capture pages, and they put people in their funnel, and they just want to see whichever ones come out the bottom end, you know, and they don't really care who they are and how they get there. You know, they just want, you know, they just want them to stick, and if they stick, then they're going to become wealthy, right? But I believe the difference between the mediocre wealth, and you know, taking, of course, wealth being, you know, relationships, but when it comes to money, mediocre wealth and true wealth, where you can actually make money, is building that bridge, creating that trust, creating the faith that people need to have so that they'll follow you and stay with you. And expand on this with me. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I know exactly where you're going with this, Jim, and I couldn't agree with you more. You are 100% right. And you know, that's what you're a master at. I mean, is developing relationships. I've learned so much from you, and I'm so thankful for the friendship. I mean, you've become one of my closest friends, and I appreciate everything you've taught me over the years. And you know, it's so important. I know some people that are just unbelievable internet marketers with lead capture pages, and they get all these leads, and they just expect people to go ahead and enroll. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and he's getting literally, I don't know, about 100 leads a day. And I said, listen, I almost said his name. I don't want to throw him under the bus here. But I said, listen, I said, you have to pick up the phone and call every single one of those people. He said, but Ollie, you know, I don't really, you know, I don't have the time, and, you know, I said, listen, you got these leads. If you're not going to call them, you need to give them or partner up with somebody that's going to call them, build that relationship with them, because that's what's going to keep them. You might get leads and get somebody to sign up, but they will not stay with you if you don't build that trust, if you don't build that relationship with them. I mean, that's how you build something forever, is with that relationship, that trust, that feeling of, well, hey, Jim's there for me. I know Jim will be there, and I can always count on him and pick up the phone and call him, and I can rely on him. And, you know, that's just so important. Now, I believe the internet is going to revolutionize the industry, as it has been doing, but you also can't get away from the belly-to-belly and building of the relationships. If you combine the two together, you'll be unstoppable.
Which leads me to the contest. And I specifically wanted to ask you this because there's a lot of people that feel like, well, they know people that, you know, are pros at the internet. No, they'll win the contest. I'll never have a chance, so why bother, right? But the truth of the matter is, I've met a lot of people that are really savvy on the internet and have, quite honestly, they have lousy success because they won't pick up the telephone and build the relationships. And then I know people, obviously like you and myself, who are comfortable, and we've developed relationships, and we'll pick up the telephone and we'll lead people in the direction we want to lead them so that they'll check out the information. And we can compete at their level. We can compete. And that's the amazing thing. There's this misnomer out there, this misunderstanding, perception that's not real. Because the people that might master the internet don't have, maybe some of them have the people skills, but most of them aren't willing to use their people skills. So I want to encourage everybody to take the time and really investigate this challenge that we've got, because here's how I look at it. Number one, some of you that are on this call, you are going to get the cash, and you should get excited about it. And some of you on this call, you're probably thinking, why bother? Why waste my time? Because maybe you don't know enough people, or maybe you're not internet savvy. But you know what? Here's what I do know. I bet you know somebody who might be able to do it. I was in Pensacola, Florida, I believe it was December 7th, and the night of the meeting that I did, there was about 40 people there, and I asked everybody in the room, I go, how many of you are internet savvy, or you know how to develop lead capture pages and work with people on the internet to develop prospects? Only 3 people raised their hands, ladies and gentlemen. That's all, 3 out of 40. Now, maybe 50 people, but because it was a little bigger than that. But anyways, my point is that those people were not there because any one person used lead capture. Not one of them was there. They were there because people picked up the telephone and called other people. So the power of what you can do, and if you, let's say you don't win. Let's say you don't win the drawings or you don't win the contests. Well, what if you have somebody in your downline that does? Is that not a win for you, ladies and gentlemen? Ollie, let me ask this question, and we got to stop here because we're going a little bit over time. But Ollie, how would you feel if you had 2 or 3 people down below you that have the experience, the understanding on how to bring a lot of people into their funnel, if you will, and they end up making the money? They end up winning the money for the home and the car and or the cash prizes. How would you feel if they were in your downline, but it wasn't coming, the money wasn't going directly to you for those prizes?
I'd be ecstatic.
Now tell us why.
Because here's the beauty of, this is why I love this industry. It's like I said earlier, the best thing you can hope for is for everybody that you bring in to become better than you are. Because if they become better than you are, all of a sudden, because of the platform that we're in, well, that means that they're going to probably participate in the network marketing companies, and they will be earning you commissions from everything they're participating in. I hope I don't ever win a contest. I hope everybody else wins the contest, and we have these people building unbelievable organizations, because that's how all that success trickles upline and everybody starts winning. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is, Jim.
I'm so glad that you hit it that way, because a lot of people don't understand, because we look first at how does it affect me immediately rather than how does it affect me if they win, and the trickle-up effect, as you just mentioned, which was a great analogy. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for taking the time to be a part of this thing. Ollie, Khalil, thank you so much for being a part of this. Hey, I didn't butcher your last name, did I?
No, man, you're getting good. It's taken you 3 years, but you're getting good.
I prefer Ollie K. But anyways, I just want to thank you, Ollie, for being a part of this thing. Stephen, thank you for monitoring this thing. And ladies and gentlemen, I just can't encourage you enough to go out there and do what you need to do to make your dreams come true. There really is no other industry that provides the average person an opportunity like this. And quite honestly, and I really believe this with all my heart, you're not going to find any one single MLM company that can provide what we're providing here. It's just not possible. It's physically and humanly impossible to duplicate this effort, what we've got here. And there's too many reasons why. It's not just because we have multiple streams of income, which, by the way, that is going to be where the bigger money is going to come from, multiple streams of companies, but also the fact that you've got a system behind you that's already developed. You've got leaders like Ollie, Khalil that know what they're doing, and they're willing to serve you and to lead you in the proper methodologies that are necessary, and the tools that we have experts in every area to make sure, whether it's social media, lead capture pages, or one-on-one meetings, putting on home meetings. Eventually we'll be doing seminars around the world. We're already global. I think we're able to bring people in from 95 different countries around the world. There's not one business on this planet that can do that. so you're in the right place at the right time. Go for the goal. Make sure that you do everything you can to win the contest, and if you don't win, I bet you're way better off anyway. But you know what? Plan on winning. I always believe in winning. I always plan on winning, and I don't stop until I win. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good evening or good morning, wherever you are in the world.